So the other day I was on Facebook at like 4:30 in the morning, cause YOLO, and someone shared this image. And people were all like, oh my god, I remember that shit. Do you or did you guys draw this weird S-looking thing? Because when I was younger, I certainly did, and it was really popular in fact. Almost everyone I know recognizes this symbol. I actually remember when I first learned the technique to make it. It was like a rite of passage. I was so happy. But in the odd hours of the morning, the mind wanders and I got to thinking. And it occurred to me that I don't know what the fuck that symbol is. And after a quick search on the internet, it turns out that in spite of the fact that this thing is super popular, no one is really sure where it came from. So I decided to take the case. I was very surprised to find out that not only are kids still drawing this thing today, but according to the testimonies of some people on Reddit, people have been drawing this thing since the 60s at least. I'd always thought it was just a relic for people who grew up in the 90s. Go figure. Also, it wasn't just the United States or North America. It was all over the world. On the various forums I checked, I found people from the UK, Brazil, Egypt, even fucking Palestine, all of whom said they grew up drawing this symbol. Now, there are a few theories as to the origin of the symbol. I've seen the suggestion that it was part of a children's puzzle book that just included a lot of different kinds of geometric designs and puzzles. I've even heard about connections to the paranormal or the occult. Many people have noted the difference between this logo and the logo for the Suzuki car company. According to the internet, that logo was created in 1958, so the date seems to be right, but that doesn't really explain why people all over the world just randomly started drawing it independent of each other. Another interesting thing about it is there is no agreed upon name for it. When I was growing up, I don't even remember there being a name for it, but I saw a lot of different names as I was researching. The Swiss S, the Joker S, the Power S, the Superman, the Super S, or the Stussy S. Now the Stussy thing is very interesting. A lot of people on Reddit and other places on the internet seem to be quite confident that the symbol was popularized by a clothing company called Stussy, and that's how it spread. The only problem with this theory is that there's literally no proof of it anywhere on the internet as far as I can tell. Which, if this were the correct theory, would be unlikely, don't you think? The only thing I could find that linked this particular image to the Stussy brand is this video on YouTube, which was apparently made for some art magazine to promote an interview with the founder of Stussy. It was uploaded in 2009. As far as I've been able to tell, there are no photos of Stussy merchandise with this particular symbol on it. On the internet, at least. They have lots of things with an S on it, but these are not the S's you're looking for. Also, according to Wikipedia, the Stussy company was formed in the 80s, and as I mentioned earlier, people have been drawing this shit since the 60s. Another interesting thing about the symbol is that a lot of people recalled that drawing it in school could get you in trouble. It was like against the rules. In some places, it was thought of as Nazi imagery, which is probably because of the logo for Hitler's security force known as Schutzstaffel, commonly abbreviated as SS. And that logo is similar, but it's not that similar. In other schools, though, you could get in trouble because it was perceived as being gang related, and that's probably because of its similarity to graffiti art. And in fact, many graffiti writers and probably street gangs would use the symbol or something similar, not because they'd come up with it, but because that's sort of a basic way to make an S in certain styles of graffiti lettering. If you'd ever seen a piece in the bubble style of graffiti writing, you'd probably seen an S that looks something like this. And to me, all you'd have to do is straighten out those lines a little bit to get the S shape that we've been talking about. And ultimately, that's what makes the most sense to me. I think it's very possible that over time, kids from all over the world just copied the graffiti art and just made it a little more geometric. I know me personally, growing up, I was always envious of people that were good at making stuff that looked like cool graffiti. So if you showed me something like that that was really easy to make, I'd be all over it. I also like the graffiti explanation because it accounts for the international aspect of the whole thing. Graffiti is a worldwide thing, and artists and writers have been collaborating and coming up with ideas together since far beyond the 60s. So that's what I decided on. And maybe partially I ended the search there because the sun had come up and I still hadn't been to sleep. But what do you think? First of all, is that a thing that you guys even did? Because most people seem to recognize it, but there were a few people that were like, what the fuck are you talking about? I've never seen that before. Have you heard any alternate theories? In the description, you can find links to different discussions and stuff that I found when I was researching it, but I guess we'll probably never know for sure. What should the next video be about? Drop a comment. I want to give a shout out to all the new subscribers. How you doing? Please press the like button. Subscribe if you like my hair. Holla.